when I went in for my call back, I get really weird. I'm really excited. And I went in and Mel looked at me and he said, I like you. Probably called me kid. I like you, kid. And he said, you remind me of, do you know who Deborah Carr was? Like one of the most sophisticated, like Hannah and the King of Siam. And
okay.
And he said, you remind me of Deborah Carr, but with a little old Jewish man inside. And I said, well, it won't be you, so don't get any idea. And then he was like, he goes, sold!
Okay. You know why?
Why?
Because we have an incredible guest this evening, one of the most fabulous females we have ever had on the show. She is the one, the only, the incomparable Amy Yasbeck. Oh, Amy. Oh, Amy.
Huh? Me? Oh, no. Wow, please.
What intro?
Oh, that was epic.
Do something. I was actually, I don't know if you can see what that is.
The Splash 2, of course.
Splash 2.
Human Splash 2 poster, which is huge. I didn't mean to, or I thought it was like a little, like a lobby card size. And then I guess it was in a metric system. And like it came and I'm like, oh, and I have it pinned with quilting pins to an actual picture that I painted of myself nursing my child, which we don't get to see.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, one of the things that we did want to ask you about was your paintings. And, we saw some of them on your social media. So how long have you actually been painting? And do you do other
paintings on Instagram when I first got it?
Yeah.
So naive. It's just mostly drawing. I love to do a portrait drawing, and I took a class for a while as a grown-ass woman, a class. It was really amazing because the teacher kind of liked what I was doing, as opposed to, said, okay, everybody just do the thing. And I was just like, I just had a Sharpie. It's like, we're doing charcoal today. I'm like, Sharpie. He's like, okay, Sharpie. You know what I mean? And he gave me a little leeway, and I really dug it. Painting is trickier for me, just because I have such, as if you haven't diagnosed me already, wild ADD.
Oh, well,
never heard of it.
I think everyone in this world has heard of it.
Want to go ride bikes?
Yeah.
Oh, a tandem. Oh, you guys should get a tandem bike.
Tampon.
A tampon bike sounds a little bit more painful, but
a lot of information.
Right. Of course. One of the things I also wanted to ask about was you had tweeted that you
God, you guys are all over my social media. Okay,
girl. We have to research. We need to research. We want to ask the things that have not been asked before. But did you really steal mascara out of Julia Roberts' dressing room during Pretty Woman?
I did not. That was a hilarious joke.
Oh, man.
I'm saying,
we could perpetuate it, though.
It's been 3,000 years. 3,000 was the name of the original show. That's why I said that. It's been, 47 years or whatever the fuck thing was. Excuse me.
You're allowed to curse. You're fine.
Oh boy, yikes. Oh, do not take the brakes off. Do not remove the guardrails.
This is our show. We do what we want. Fuck it.
Yeah. But it was somebody posted something about how long it's been since Pretty Woman, and it's just it hit me. It hits me every year when somebody posts how long it's been. But then, so I made a joke about I should return that mascara. But truth be told, I have makeup from high school.
I feel like I do too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, high school was 5 years ago for you. Maybe.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh,
that's very generous.
I graduated in 1980. Mine are probably relics. I could sell them on some vintage makeup site. But just I don't really like you, but not mascara, but like little powders and stuff. It's just sad. Yes.
See, it's funny because when you did make that tweet, I had this entire visual in my head of you tiptoeing ever so quietly, opening up her dressing room door, going in, looking and stealing said mascara. It was just a picture in my mind.
I think no, but I did get my makeup done, you know, in the trailer or whatever with her there, and she was perfectly fine. She didn't know I was alive, which is okay. Who cares? But which is fine. Richard Gere did. That's all I cared about. And Daryl Marshall. That's seriously all I cared about. And Jason Alexander. I mean, it was a fun cast. But she was, you know, very focused and stuff, which is fine. But anyway, no, she's great. So in theory, we never used the same mascara, but I could have just like reached across because I'm sure she didn't do her own eyelashes even in those days.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
That's what we're going with, gals.
Danica?
All right. Well, we're going to pivot a little bit because we would be remiss if we did not ask about the fabulous and amazing Mel Brooks and you're working with him. So, but
yes.
Of course you've worked with him on 2 different films, but we're curious, are there any other directors that you are still interested in working with in the future that you haven't yet had a chance to?
Do you know, the answer used to be Woody Allen, and now it is not. I'm just, sorry. And I would, you know, I definitely was a big fan of his movies up until a point, but then I started like going, oh yeah, this movie about this and this movie about that. And then I watched the documentary and I'd always kind of kept up with it. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that would feel weird, even if it just made his kid feel like I wouldn't want to like insult anybody who's got not just beef, but like pain over that. So I used to say Woody Allen. That's stupid. That's a lot of talking about that. Sorry. I would like to be directed by any of my kids. I think Jason Ritter would kick ass directing, as would Tyler. And my daughter-in-law, Melanie Linsky, officially daughter-in-law. I've been calling her that forever. They made it official. So I'm excited. So anybody,
congratulations! That's exciting.
Thank you. I'll take all the kids and go. I've got 6 grandkids. You know, I just don't even start. You know,
okay.
I mean, start. Did you see my name on here before I changed it? Was Mima?
No, you're Mima.
I typed in Mima as a test for another thing that I'm doing on this thing, and they're like, "Oh, wait, somebody typed in Mima." I'm like, "That's me."
I like it.
Mima, I love that so much.
We met in Louisville. I'm from Cincinnati. I think Mima is appropriate.
Yeah.
Directors, any director who wants to direct me, I don't care. I feel like all of those guys and gals, hopefully, that used to get the VHS of the Robin Hood Men in Tights and return it, and the part where I would stand up from the bathtub in my casting belt. I've had people through the years that have like worked at video stores that just like broken there. They're like, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God porn is on computers now, so people don't have to ejaculate on VHS tapes and return them to
Thank God for that.
I mean, I assume that's what they were doing. Maybe they're just like metallurgists who were wondering how chastity belts were made. I don't know.
Research.
When people say stuff about, you know, have you ever, has there ever been like a casting couch situation? I'm like, no, I think I'm very lucky nobody ever tried any weird stuff. Plus, I always had an agent that would have killed someone. Plus, I don't think I put out those vibes, but even girls that don't put out those vibes and guys can get, you know, hit on. But I'm also saying now, it's almost like anybody who spanked it to any of my movies, just consider that like a casting couch thing, and you owe me a part now that you're grown up and are directors.
Aha.
Okay.
Did you hear that, everybody? Yeah, it's on you.
I love it. Okay. Makes sense to me. I mean, but like you also mentioned like female directors, and I mean, obviously the Oscars were different this year, but we did have a female win for best film, and I think that's so amazing.
It's so weird, and I feel like I'm some kind of weird old guard, because every time something amazing happens, and absolutely like not a moment too soon. That's when anything good in the world would happen in terms of race equity, gender, sexuality, identification, anything. John would always say, to my wonderful late husband, John Ritter, like somebody'd say, well, so-and-so is the first, and he'd go, not a fucking moment too soon. Like, it's crazy when you think about when we saw two women behind the president, you know, yesterday, and it's just like, and he, I mean, Grandpa Joe, I love him, Uncle Joe, whatever his name is, our president. I love him, but he was like extra excited, like nobody's ever got to say that before, and it's like, and people are like, okay, and I'm like, you have to understand what, not just me, but women and women before seems impossible, then it's possible, then it's probable, then it happens, you know? Like, I'm telling you guys, I'm not trying to like wake you up. I'm sure you're feminist enough.
It is momentous. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Wholeheartedly agree.
It's quite a big deal. And that, of course, when women, anybody who's underserved, underutilized becomes a boss, that's when the equity starts to happen, because you can have a million, that kind of attrition happens even in like right now I'm really studying about and learning from people who really know what they're talking about just African-American doctors, how you're represented. And a lot of time, and women too, a lot of times people look around in their class, freshmen in college, and go, well, it's like 50-50. This is great. And then less, and then less, and then less, and then getting hired even less. And it's like, that's kind of thing has happened, I think, because you have to have someone be willing to support you. And so now, like so many women directors, there is a woman director that I love, a director who happens to be a woman and a friend. Her name is Melanie Mayron. And I don't know if you guys remember, before your time, a show called 30 Something that was really good. And she was always like this, like that's the one, back before everybody was like, I'm a this and I'm a that on Sex and the City, people would kind of relate to, I'm like Hope, or I'm like, I don't remember what all their names were, on 30. And I was always like, I love her. Single, wild, red hair, photographer, I love her. And then I met her later on, and we had kids in school together. And every once in a while, she'll call me up to be, because she's a director now, actor too, to be in something. And I can't explain how that feels to see her, like, I don't mean just like bossing a bunch of men around, but just to see somebody, you know, just, and not like people they love her, you know, and she's just, anyway. Melanie, if you're out there, I'd like to make my SAG insurance this year.
No, that's so wonderful. And it needs to be more normalized. All of these things just need to be normal.
Normalize it.
Yeah. But that's amazing. And I'm definitely going to look out for her and go back and revisit that show. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, you should. It was really good. Some of it seems kind of like, oh, that's where that came from. Almost like it set a standard for shows about couples.
Awesome. Well, do you have any interest in in that side of the business as well? Like as far as like directing, producing, is that anything that interests you as well?
I do 100%, but I have because of the ADHD, I have an output problem, and because, you know what I mean? Lots of effing ideas, but let's get real. I have just recently learned how to like really delegate through the foundation. I can't do everything. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And of course, I've waited to find like the most amazing women. I don't mean to be like that, but just to make sure, you know. And so learning how to delegate with my foundation, I really made an effort. It's not comfortable for me, especially because it has John's name on it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, great, I can't research genes and chromosomes. No, I've always had like the experts, but I mean the people going out and using John's name in that beautiful way to raise money and raise awareness. I like waited until the world kind of gifted me with a woman who's our CEO now, Meredith Ford, who is she's a survivor of aortic dissection.
Wow.
And she dissected while in her 30-something week of pregnancy. So she had an aortic, she had a successful baby's adorable, 2 years old, cesarean section and an aortic dissection, aorta replacement, open chest surgery, not just on the same day, on the same table. And I went, warrior, please. And so I got to, she's our boss now. And so it's almost like saying you're never going to get married. And then there's somebody you're like, oh, fuck yeah, I guess I am. Wow. That's, do you know what I mean?
Of
and
course.
For me to be able to actually get something going, writing, producing, I make video. I can't even explain how much fun just on, I mean, like, my kids love it, and I do it really, really fast on stupid. What's the one on Apple? iMovie.
iMovie, yeah.
Oh my god! So I love editing and doing like tick, 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 crazy stuff and kind of. I wouldn't call it hacking. I don't know what you would call it. Misusing and abusing the few little bells and whistles that are on there. I get people like, wait, how did you do that on iMovie? I'm like, wow. I made a video of a video, and then I was screen recording while I was actually doing editing on it, and then I speeded it up, and then I just like those little problems and fixing them. But of course, I will do that for like 3 hours straight, and then go, oh, I hope I haven't shit myself. Like I get like,
right.
I get like over focused on something. So for me to be able to have a project that I'm part of as a producer and a creative person and a writer. I've been asked a couple of times to be in writing rooms by some pretty good people and did not feel up to it. This was years ago, and now I'm like, oh, please, I'm ready. But it did take me working my foundation to be able to learn how to like delegate stuff. And it's not because I'm a credit whore.
Sure.
But I'm not a credit. It's not that. It's like, you know, you feel like ownership of something.
Yeah.
And especially that's close to my heart. It's an aorta pun, close to my heart. Kid knows that one.
Yeah.
The kid knows that one.
It's good stuff. It's good
For
stuff.
me to be able to do that in a creative way, I'm looking forward to it. And it may take me, you know, finding like the perfect match to produce something with, but boy, oh boy, do I have ideas. Documentaries are my thing.
Ooh, yes.
And animation. I'm just like this. Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying a lot of questions you guys aren't asking me, but like nobody's talked to me for like a year. So
we're here to.
We have so many questions.
Yeah, we have
like
a lot.
Everything that's already happening is so good, so we're just not going to stop you.
Exactly. Yeah, we're here for you. But speaking of things that are exceptional and wonderful and brilliant scripts, do you remember your first reaction to reading The Princess? Like,
you say Princess Bride.
Huh?
It's like when somebody calls your ex's name. Go ahead.
No, sorry, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Sorry, I have my list of.
I have to tell you a parallel thing to that.
Yes, please.
When I was on Wings, I have visual. It's here. Hold on.
What do you have?
I have this from Wings.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I was everything's backwards. Oh,
it is backwards.
Right?
I know.
I don't know where I am in space. When I was on Wings, people would sincerely, and I just stopped correcting them, would say to me, even on the set at Paramount, like after my couple years being there, they go, I just think you're a great addition to Cheers. And I'm like, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
And
yes.
Yeah, me too.
You and Steve Weber, on Cheers, and I'd be like, and it's like, so I answer to anything Princess Bride.
Yes, this is now just a Princess Bride stream. So yes, thank you. Inconceivable. So what were your initial thoughts when you read the script for the first time for Robin Hood Men in Tights?
I read, at first I didn't get a script. You just get the sides to audition, right? And I realized, okay. You want some inside baseball?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me have a little bit more of this.
Go for it.
Red wine, also known as Diet Coke. I had a dentist. Do you know where I'm going with this? Oh, kids. I had a dentist, and my dentist's name was, I can't think of it right now. And he one time was doing my teeth, and he said that he and his son had thought that at his son's suggestion, he had written a parody of Robin Hood Men in Tights. Of Robin Hood, I apologize. Of Robin Hood, based on what's his name? What's his name? Dances with Wolves. Come on, help me.
Kevin.
Yes, on that movie, which was Prince of Thieves. That was Robin Hood.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Prince of Thieves. Men in Poland. Right. And I was like, oh, and he was like telling me about it. I'm like, it sounds funny. And I can't remember whether he said that he had gotten it to Mel Brooks or not. All I remember was he said, and I swear to God, this is true. And there must be some contemporaneous reporting about this, because I told John and I told a couple other people, this guy was also his dentist. And I said, and he said, you know, I thought of like how you are, like, you seem like really sweet and ladylike, but really like you're really funny, and you're way, you know, too old for it. I was 30. You're way too old. It's blonde, British, buxom, and I'm like, gotcha. Yeah, not me. Can you just more Novocaine, please? in my soul, thank you. But I didn't think about it after that for a while, and then there was this. I guess a casting call went out, and they saw all the blonde, British, buxom virgins in town. Just kidding. They saw both of them. Just kidding. And then my agent, Mark Chancer, at the time, great guy, took a chancer on me, and he said, I think it went like this. We will have to ask him. I would love to see him again. Haven't seen him in a long time. Something like, they didn't want to see you. They're like, no. And he sent them a tape of me on the Tonight Show. After Problem Child weirdly did really well in that summer, you know, like the kid, like, I'm out of school summer. And then in September, I think I put this on Gilbert Gottfried show, and Gilbert's like, is that what happened? I'm like, I don't know. You know, things get in there. They re-released it when the kids were all back in school. They pushed it again because kids were saying, hey, I want to see that Problem Child movie with you. So there was like another push for it. Now everything's on TV. I remember when this was all orange groves. Right. But it's like, right? So we, so I mean, the little kid, I think Michael was on, John was on the Tonight Show, and I went on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. That was the dream. Like when I was a kid, this is last year too, I believe. Okay. But I just saw a tape. Somebody sent me a video of the show, and I returned it to Blockbuster.
Did you rewind it a bunch? Yeah, okay.
But it was like, sorry, girl. I like the interview.
Throwback.
Yeah. So and then they said, yeah, let's see her. So weird. And so before I went into audition, with just the sides, and it was like coming out of the bathtub in the chastity. I was fully dressed and stuffed. I mean, I weighed about 2 pounds in those days, and was, flat as a board, easy to nail, carpenter's dream. But that's the Cincinnati saying. So I because they talked. I don't know if they talked about her boobs in the thing, but definitely in the character description for the casting, it was like buxom. And I had seen Mel Brooks movies before, so I just I just put like rolls of socks and things. But I said to John, I said, I want this, and I said, let me do it a couple times for you, which was nerve-wracking in a way to do any kind of comedy. And he said, I don't know if any. I'm sure he said girls, now we would say women. Any of the other girls up for this 30 are going to do anything physical comedy or any bits. he said I would try to shove them all in there just so Mel sees you can do it, and then he can pull it back like, okay, Lucille, bring it down, you know? And so, and some of the stuff like ended up in the movie, like the bird poops on my hand and stuff, but I did like funny little things, and you go, yeah, that one, no, that one's stupid, no, that sounds shrill, no, that sounds this. And so it was like the time that I just went, I really want this. I mean, there's only been, I don't know, that one was like a big deal because Mel Brooks, part of my childhood, and my brother Jay and I still, the campfire scene with all the tooting and the, you know what I mean? So that's our love language. My brother and my love language is, movie lines and stuff. So
same with me and my brother. That's so funny.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Right? It's a big deal. And when you can hang, my brother's 12 years older than I am, and just the funniest guy. No hugging, no nothing. Never called me by my name, called me Dewey, which he says is like from like we had a cousin named Dewey. I don't know why he called me Dewey, but that was like our thing. And people are like, what are you guys talking about? But it was just weird. And this is like, things aren't on TV, okay? We see the movie once, and then
it sticks with you. Yeah. But
so I really wanted that Mel Brooks thing. And like one thing was, I did a thing like the bird lands on my, I was trying to remember the other day. The bird lands on my finger. I'm just assuming everybody saw Robin Hood Men in Tights, but I guess that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Had better. If you have not, you have better.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean,
what are you doing?
Requirement.
Yeah, it's a requirement. But so like lands on my head, and then when it poops, and then but when it flies away, I took my pages from my script and make like a little sound with the script, like I was trying to chase it around, but off camera, I was like waving the pages around, so it sounded like it was hitting me in the face. I went nuts.
Great.
I went nuts, and then when I went in for my callback, I get really weird. I'm really excited, and I went in and Mel looked at me and he said, I like you. Probably called me kid. I like you, kid. And he said, you remind me of, do you know who Deborah Carr was? Like one of the most sophisticated, like Hannah and the King of Siam. And
okay.
And he said, you remind me of Deborah Carr, but with a little old Jewish man inside. And I said, well, it won't be you, so don't get any idea. And then he was like, he goes, sold, like this. And I didn't know whether he just said sold to everybody, but I really felt like I was going to effing cry. It was, I said, even if it was just that, and they want some virgin blonde with actual non-stuffed bra, just the fact that I got to be in the room, and now the idea that I really got to work with him and Carrie on that. And then he called, oh my God, I was at the soup plantation, which is gone now. I don't even know what a soup plantation.
It was Sweet Tomato down here. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. I remember. And something about Sweet Tomato, when my sister Ann lived down there, and I went down, she goes, it's just like the soup plantation. I walked in and I'm like, there is more meat than a Golden Corral in here. This is not like the soup plantation in California. It was just like, I remember I was at the soup plantation, which is gone now because they got away with it a long time with that sneeze guard. Then coronavirus, like, you know what? No, the epicenter of all things sticky, besides the Robin Hood VHS, get out. So I was at a soup plantation, and no cell phones, kids, okay? Orange groves, as far as I can see. And I was like, told my agent, and he's like, oh my God, you have to call Mel Brooks right now. And I'm like, everything's okay. This was however many years. This was 95 or something. And I called him like, yes, Mel. And he's like, I'm doing a Dracula movie. And I said, great. I said, what time should I show up? And he goes, so the first thing I went, I said, really, are you really? And he goes, yes, I want you to be Mina. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like, I knew so much Dracula lore and stuff. And then he told me it was Leslie Nielsen as Dracula. And I went, oh yeah. This is all making sense now. And I said, who have you got for Jonathan? And he had I can't think of his name, a really, really good actor. And I said, don't send anybody a contract till you meet Steve Weber. You're going to love him. And he's like, okay. And Steve went in and Mel fell in love with him.
Oh my goodness. Like, this is.
I love that you suggested him too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I also love, because you mentioned, I love that you workshopped your role with John. Like, I love that so much. I mean,
so crazy. And I didn't always do, it was always me teaching him lines. I loved to teach him his lines for, like, he was on a series called Hearts of Fire.
Of course.
8 Simple Rules. And I mean, in movies that he was in that while I was with him. And it was so much fun teaching him lines because he was so, it's not even that he was fast at learning the lines. He liked all my little mnemonic devices, which drive me crazy. But he did not have ADD. So he would be able to have the mnemonic device in his head of how to remember the lines plus act at the same time. I have seen myself on camera a couple times, like, oh, that's that speech I had trouble with. And I see my eyes just like defocusing. The script, and like, I'm a very, very method actor. No. And Dermot Mulroney, not Dylan McDermott.
Oh, the other one.
The other guy.
Are they the same guy? I don't know.
No, Dermot Mulroney and then Dylan McDermott. Why do I do that?
Because everyone does.
It's a fun.
Yeah. Who's the tall one?
He's one of those.
Yes.
Sure. One of them. Damn it. And I'm always the one trying to tell people the difference. But right now it's the Kino.
Chug.
Came up to me at, okay, you want to drop, does anybody want to get a hard hat? I'm about to drop some names.
Okay, let me.
Peter Bogdanovich's birthday party. Look all these names up. All the old people just fainted. And I was with Cloris Leachman, so that's the thing.
I love that picture of you and Cloris too. Oh my god.
There are many pictures. But Dermot Mulroney. Yes.
I believe you.
Yes.
Okay. Came up to me and he said, "You're John's wife?" And I went, "Sure." I mean, this was so many years after it. I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I mean, I worked." I said, "Oh, did you work with John?" And he said, "No, I worked with," and he named somebody who I can't remember right now, of course. And he said, and they had learned from John how to learn lines in a big speech. And he said, "This is how Amy used to teach me lines for big speeches." And he goes, "And so people talk about it all the time." And I'm like, "Could you remind me what that is? Because I don't remember how to do it at all." And you take the first letter from each thing and you make a word of it or a picture. I'm like, "Oh my God." I said, "What does that have to do with acting?" He said, "Nothing. Sometimes you just have to learn the monologue." And I'm like, right. The anti-actor, me, just like, it's all about words on the page and the pictures they make in your head. I don't know.
No, that's smart.
Fair. You gotta learn them somehow.
Somehow it worked.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his name.
I love that. Wow. Danica, why don't we each ask one more question and then we'll go to the game? Because we have a game we're going to play, Amy. Do you want me to go first? You want to go first, Danica?
Very competitive.
You're only competing with yourself on this. So
yes.
I think you're going to win either way. So
yes.
That's so fun.
Okay. So my question is, you were in The Mask, and in the film, Stanley Ipkiss, he puts on the mask and, he goes to town and he's dancing to Cuban Pete, which is like such a fun scene. But if you had a mask, right, and you were to put it on, what song would you like to dance to?
Tell me something good. Tell me that you like it.
Oh yeah.
That was our song where John took during the wedding, the garter belt.
Oh yeah.
It was very funny.
Oh,
that's a good one. Good choice.
Or maybe it would be something fast and fun. Oh, here's a song that I make videos to for my grandkids. Do you know Big Noise from Winnetka? Here's your homework.
Okay.
I'm not great with names of things, but if you sing it, I probably do.
There's no words. Big noise. No, it's bum 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 bum
Oh, of course. Yes.
Bing Crosby's brother Bob Crosby had a big band called Bob Crosby and the Bobcats. Please, big noise from Winnetka. The best thing to edit to.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you said big nose, and that's what threw me off. I thought you said big nose.
Big nose from Winnetka.
I'm offended.
I love a big nose. I love a big nose. I don't enjoy a button nose. I mean, no. A big nose can get up to some business.
All right. Well, so big noise. Okay, got it. Big noise.
All right.
Okay.
My last question before the game.
Sorry, now I'm thinking of doing a video called Big Nose from Winnetka. But
can you please?
I think you should, obviously. Obviously.
That song?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What's up, Anna?
All right, let's see. So you've mentioned in the last interview that you actually did with Kid Cadet that your claustrophobia was a bit exploited on the set of Dracula Dead and Loving It from having to get in the coffin and everything. So I was wondering, are there any other fears or phobias that were maybe exploited or maybe even discovered where you were filming any other things, shows, movies?
What?
Splash 2. Splash 2 was, the Disney TV Sunday night Disney version. I mean, whatever. Continuing Adventures of Madison the Mermaid. And it was a backdoor pilot, which doesn't sound as dirty. Sounds like a move. The old backdoor pilot. Right? But it was like, it was like an hour, and then the next Sunday night, another hour. So we shot it like a movie. A backdoor pilot, meaning like if people really liked it, they're going to make it into a series. Sure. We shot it. Now, I'm sure Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks were some Caribbean place and whatever. We shot it at MGM Disney. It was the first everything ever shot there at their lot.
Oh.
They had there were just houses built, and we had like one of the houses. But if they would have like moved the camera a little bit, you'd see, it's Disney. And we shot in the Epcot Center. And I shot in the Living Seas.
Oh.
In that you go, and it is a mock-up of what the North Sea, freezing, and they had taught me how to buddy breathe, like scuba, buddy breathe you, and then you give it because mermaid can't have the thing, and so a safety diver would be. They taught me that on the Disney lot here in LA in the Valley. In the pool from Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Another thing to look up for you guys.
Oh, we know that. Yeah. We know that one.
Okay. I don't mean to, I'm sure you know all the stuff. But it's called Big Nose in Beverly Hills. No, just
yes.
and but it was like 2 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. I didn't get it. So then I'm in the mermaid, I'm in the tail, sewn in with monofilament. Claustrophobic. Did I pee in there? Why, yes, I did.
That was our next question.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
It's really warm in this water.
It was warm in my tail. It was freezing. And so I had to be under there. It was fun, like swimming with Bob. His real name was Bob the Dolphin, but they called him Salty in the movie. He never ever got a role after that. He was so, pigeonholed as Salty. But so Bob the Dolphin, I would like hold on to his fluke. So, Mermaid, I've always wanted to be a mermaid. I went to Weeki Wachee Springs as a kid. I don't know if that is still there. All about mermaids. So that movie was just like, this is impossible that I'm playing a mermaid. That's one of those things that you're like, am I dreaming? Am I still in New Ohio in my bed, wrapped around pretending I'm a mermaid? But I wasn't. I was in Orlando. Where am I? But there were sharks in there, big old sharks. And I was very, very afraid of them. And I'm like, well, but I am also, even if they weren't man or woman eating sharks, which all sharks have the potential to be, I was, dressed like a lox, basically, like a big orange. And it was really scary. And even the hammerhead sharks, Wait, hammerhead sharks. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably the best imitation I've ever seen of
Things
one.
that you thought were fake when you saw them animated as children, like the sawtooth freaking things.
Yes.
They were under there, and I'd be, they'd pull me back up to the surface, and there was like a little like floaty boat that I was sitting in, and they were feeding me soup. My eardrum burst at one point too. It was a fun time, but it was worth it.
But Mermaid.
See like the shadow of like the shark going around, and I'm just like, showbiz, right?
Showbiz. Wow.
And being fitted for a coffin, which is not okay.
Yeah.
And I never let you. I don't know if you and Dracula Dead and Loving It. Do I have a picture of it? No, I guess you guys know these movies. I'm like, you wouldn't know it unless I show it to you.
We know.
No one's ever seen that movie.
I never lay down in that coffin because they were wanting me to like full on be Mel was, and I'm like, oh no, I need the Craftmatic adjustable fucking coffin. I'm not laying down in it. It's just that feeling of, and John told me that on some show, I think it was Hooperman, a show that he did where he was a cop. There was a scene where he had to lay down in a coffin, and I think they had to like close it for a second. Then he popped up. He was like on patrol or something, and somebody wanted to be a smartass and like sat on the lid of it.
Nope.
And he said he goes, well, I'm just going to will myself to die now. Like I can't live through that. And he said when he got out of there, he like played it off, but then he just had like, he was really claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's
just a coffin. It's the idea of like being in like a little space like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I see my cousin Sean.
Hi, cousin Sean.
Glasses on. Are people writing things? Should I be talking to people?
We'll occasionally mention them. Yeah.
It's my cousin Sean Dennedy. We found each other. I found him on by Ancestry.com.
Oh, really?
From a DNA test, from doing so much research on my hard to find on the Irish side because my last name is Murphy on that side, and that's like, hey buddy, that's like Jones or Smith or Ritter in Germany. A lot of them. But then I just looked and I found newspaper articles, and then I found him and I found him on Facebook.
And he's so cool.
He's my true fourth cousin, my third great grandfather, PJ Murphy's sister, Anna Murphy. They came over from Ireland together, island in the sea, Ireland, and that's his third great grandmother. I mean,
wow.
You're mentioning the good parts of social media that we are able to connect, and yeah.
I was surprised when I got a message from Amy. I love that.
Oh, that's
so cool.
That's a really cool story. You've never met?
I've never met him. No, and he lives in Cincinnati, and I'm going to force him to meet my family. And his mom has all kinds of interesting stuff in the family Bible that I'm going to go with. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh man,
I love it so much. I have found some really crazy stuff.
Awesome. I'm still digging through mine. It is tough, man. Like all of the ancestry stuff is really tough.
I can really, really help you. Will you write to me off? Blah blah.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's really
I've actually, I don't like put this out there a lot and no names, but I've helped a couple people find their like birth parents or earth family just because and then I put it in there. I don't go bugging people, but I love it's one of those research rabbit holes are really really good for people with the combination ADD OCD. And what's in the middle?
Right there.
Venn diagram. WTF. Yes, thank you.
I live there.
I'm going to trademark that because I
should.
Love that.
I'm definitely going to write a book about adult ADHD.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's
a surprising thing. But so that kind of research rabbit hole that also like I'll read about somebody and like, well, that was during the time of the it's like if it's something I haven't heard of or I heard of in high school, but I didn't understand what this Civil War battle was, then I'll go and read all about that. So it's really kind of helped because, me understand and connect to American history, good, bad, ugly, because when you're on newspapers.com, if you ever want to really make yourself upset, Google a couple words that people don't say anymore. Not Google, put it in there and see how much in the newspaper is just the way that people used to talk about each other. Horrifying. But so I feel like you got to know that stuff to be able to really understand where literally people and your country is coming from.
For sure.
And that's the reason I will be running for.
I thought we were getting an announcement because you have our vote, whatever you're running for. You got it.
Running for the bus.
All right. Well,
that's my dog in the background. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Her name is Kiri. The one that's yelling is Kiri.
Okay, what else?
I was going to mention, have you seen the show on PBS about ancestry?
Are you kidding me?
Okay, good. Just checking.
You mean with Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the coolest.
Are you talking about the Finding Your Roots?
Yes.
Yes, I've watched that for a long time, and my friend Sarah Silverman was on there. I got some inside scoop about stuff that was going on during it, which is killing me. And Tony Shalhoub was on it.
Yes.
Which is amazing, because I'm Lebanese on my dad's side.
Oh, cool.
And so the stuff that Tony Shalhoub was, it was just like stunning. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, that's a harder side to research, just because. And yet I have a cousin who just went to town, literally the town of Turza, which is a little town in Lebanon in the mountains, and did like a whole like deep ancestry on that. Quick ancestry story. May I?
Yes, please.
When I first in 2012 bought my ancestry.com, whatever, whenever the first time is you could do a DNA thing. Now, I know a lot about, not like a doctor, but I know maybe more than the average bear, that's a Yogi Bear reference, about DNA and genetics, because part of the John Ritter research, part of the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health is our partnership with the John Ritter Research Program in aortic and vascular diseases at the in Houston, University of Texas. Okay, so I've never been like kind of delusional about genetics and stuff, because I had to learn about it from people so I can make the right, not as a genetic counselor, nothing like that, but who do I send this person to where it might be genetic in their family, and teasing out a little bit of family history from somebody. I'm off on a different subject, but when people go, I don't think aortic dissection is in my family. And I'm like, well, can you ask your father, grandfather? No, all the men die at 42 when they fall off their tractor. And I'm like, or do they die and then fall off their tractor? Do you know what I mean? So I talk to people about genetics in this way. So I was very surprised when I did my DNA at whatever on Ancestry, and it came back all this Irish, Western European stuff on my mom, half. And then the other half was not Lebanese. And we're 100% Lebanese on that side. But it was like a little bit this, a little bit Italian, a little bit Greek. So then I, trying to make that right, go and start researching the Crusades and, going into this and Lebanon. And I talked to somebody at the genetic research program. I don't think it was Dr. Milowitz, the boss. But I'm like, now why would it? And they're like, because they don't have enough people from that region in Lebanon to match you up with. So it's going to look like that for a while until there's an update and more people. And at the same time, my something cousin who lives in Canada was getting a lot of our relatives to spit and do the thing. And then, so the next update, it was like 50% Lebanese. And I'm like, oh, that's how genetics work. That's why I'm getting so many families, how important it is to get families who have aortic dissection, aneurysm and dissection, thoracic, in their family or it happened to them into this study where we're doing the research, because you can only identify something when, you have something to weigh it against, to look at. Like, it's definitely in this family. And then you look at genes, and of course I'm describing that like it, but it really has helped me understand how similarities in genes and family traits come down, because what you learn in when I learned it in high school, and it was just like good old Mendel and his, what did he do? He did the pea pod, he did the peas, and then somebody else.
Rental, yeah, the pea.
Yeah. And you know, and flies and fleas and fruit flies and stuff, and talking about recessive genes, and all they teach you is like, well, you have blue eyes, but that's okay. Your parents didn't screw around because your grandma had it. It's like, well, that's a different thing. And what I'm talking about with the aortic dissection, it's 50-50. If you get your gene from your mom or your dad. There's no like, in me explaining it to myself and being able to, you know, by looking at it, and instead of going, I'm going to research this, to be able to call someone at the research program, these wonderful people, and go, I have a question, da 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 da, and they're like, oh, let me draw that for you, because I'm uber visual. Uber,
Yeah.
before, when it was just a German word means super. Competition with Lyft. Do you know what I mean? And just being able to continue like a sciencey kind of education, just to be like in the game with that, because it's really important with everything. Kid, we've talked about this. But
it is important. Yeah.
It's really important stuff, and it needs to be made more plain and understandable and not babied down. People don't need to be talked to like a baby by doctors and researchers and stuff. We just need some really, really good animation and 3D models. If anybody wants to help, if anybody's wonderful at that, I want to do some like really, instead of like, this is what an aorta is, I want to do what you guys would think of, even before you probably, Magic School Bus. But what I would think of as, you know, the something journey, whatever it was called, fantastic journey, like shrink down, be in the bloods, be in a little submarine to see, this is why it sucks. Your blood is coming like this, and then it's going into this. And if there's a false place for it to go, the blood doesn't go. I would like to see it from the point of view of a blood cell. I can draw that all day long, but I can't animate it. So
yeah, see, and I'm the same way too. I'm a visual person, so like it should be animated. Really it would be really, yeah,
really helpful, and not just for people who you know, are like, I'm visual, I'm oral, I'm kinesthetic. You know, people, which those are good. People kind of know the way they learn, but because we've all grown up with visual media around us, and even now, more now, I think everybody needs that extra thing of like a really visual thing. And the fact that when I was a kid, everything was not even screens, a page, and you would have to look. And my favorite thing was what? Flip books.
Yeah.
Flip books, because I liked seeing like the slices of how it got from here to here. And that's actually how doctors have to look at a CT scan.
Right, in layers, right.
This way. And so if you look at like one picture, it's like you're taking a slice of below. Does anyone know what, I want to say something. It literally, there's a kind of meat called head cheese.
Yeah, head cheese, of course.
That was a butcher, and it has all kinds of like weird stuff, right? So imagine like you like cut a slice of it. You can't predict what the other slice at the end of it looks like, because that might have been just something that was in that slice, right? So when doctors are talking to people about their CT scan and they're saying there's an aneurysm here, it's bigger, doctors are trained to look at it and think of it like whoop, whoop, slices of something, like slices, marbled rye. Yes. Oh, and if you're a visual person, you get to the end, you're like, this one is where this swirl started that went like this and this. It's hard for some people just to look at a slice of something and understand what it is. So I want to really create science experiments that kids for free can have for 6th grade so they can win their science fair. But I mean, I want like tactile things to work with and stuff to educate everybody.
And it's so important too, because like, if I remember correctly, Amy, when we had talked about this before, they had misdiagnosed John with, they said he was having a heart attack. And so it's important because it's,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You obviously.
No, but I mean, right. But when someone is correctly diagnosed, if you go into an emergency room with chest pain, they're always going to, well, for women, sadly, it's even if a woman goes in with chest pain and she is having a heart attack, a lot of time they're like, maybe it's your period or gas or you're stressed out. There's a lot of, it's terrible. And I wish I didn't know so much about that, but I promise you guys, I'm working on it. Oh, me, Ma, I was working on that, but the thing is, unexplained chest pain that's like comes on really fast, feels like tearing, ripping. I mean, there's something called, I wish I had them here. That would be the thing to effing have, Ritter rules that were culled from the guidelines for, for treating and recognizing aortic dissection, and the guidelines which are actually being updated and stuff. But Ritter rules remain. And if like any of those risk factors that you have, including ones that can be family history and things, in an emergency room setting that a doctor would pick up on, or somebody doing your intake, a CT scan is what you would need to definitively, look at me in the camera, definitively diagnose an thoracic aortic dissection, which will effing kill you if you are treated for a heart attack or sent home. You remember the play Rent?
Mm-hmm.
Rent? So yeah. Jonathan Larson, the playwright, died of an aortic dissection before it even opened, because he went in and it was incorrectly diagnosed, and so he didn't have any treatment for it or an operation. And we've lost plenty of people enough. We've got to, when I speak to doctors and researchers, and it's like, I'm not going to tell them anything. I'm certainly not going to act like I'm telling them something, especially when I talk to like cardiologists and I go, I know you already know this, but da 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 da. And sometimes they go, like, yeah, I should know that. Every once in a while, people are kind of more on the same page now. But when I give my little speeches, and you have to strike the right tone, because I can't be too doctory, because I shouldn't be, but I also am pretty educated about just definitely the patient side of it, the customer side, and about being able to have agency over your own body. And information is nothing but power. And people go, I don't want too much information, it makes me worry about stuff. It's like, oh no. You might not want to be Googling stuff and going crazy, but if you go to johnritterfoundation.org.
Yeah, I think we have a graphic. Let's bring up the graphic.
You do?
Yeah, I see it there in the, okay, there we go.
And we're the thing is, okay, we have this, the lady I told you about, who's the CEO, the one that dissected when she was pregnant. She is really helping me. So we're doing like a whole redo of all this stuff, but all the correct information is on there.
On the website. And what is the website if people want to visit for more information?
johnritterfoundation.org.
Fabulous.
Right? Yeah. And you can write to me on there too, if you want to. Please write to me about non-showbiz stuff. Or don't. I don't care. Write to me. I'll write back to you.
But I think it is really important that you're getting this information out there, because I'll be honest, I had never heard about it before I met you, ever.
Neither did I before John died. This is what we were talking about, kid. It's like the night John died, and what several doctors have said to me very poignantly is, there's an awareness now. It's not where it needs to be, but there was a pre-John Ritter dying from aortic dissection awareness and a post-John Ritter. Sadly, John died in the last moments of pre-John Ritter awareness, if you think about it. You know what I mean? And so to not use his unfortunate tragedy in our families to be able to push the awareness, and therefore the science gets funded, and then the science pushes science, and there's more things to be aware of, and it blooms in a really, really beautiful way. I mean, American Cancer Society has done this, American Heart Association has done this, in a way that we understand. Like we know kind of know what my blood pressure is, kind of know what my risk is for breast cancer, because it's out there and people talk about it. I don't mean to be sexist, but women are, especially with breast cancer, have been kind of keepers of the knowledge and passing it down because it's mostly a women's disease, right? But I think everybody can talk about this one because it's like, God damn it, this is what we lost John to. And people feel a very familiar bond with him, familial even bond with him, because, you know, he wore his heart and his personality like on his sleeve, and you kind of like, you did know him. People say, I wish I knew him. I'm like, you kind of did, you know. And people say, you guys are not going to make me cry about Dracula. I'm making myself cry. People say to me, I loved John. And I say, oh, he loved you too. And they're like, what? And I'm like, he really loved people. I mean, when it was like this with like fans and stuff, sometimes he's like, I gotta go, you know, when he's with his kids and stuff. But he really liked and loved people and observed them. And that's where all that comedy came from. And if he would have survived, you know, we'd be doing this together. But so it's just on me, and I really want the foundation to be part of, and it does have his personality almost. You know, there are sassy ways to talk about stuff, you know, because it's a sad situation, and I talk to people who've lost wives, children, kids. I mean, it's an equal opportunity destroyer, you know. And Dr. Milowitz and other people and teams that she's been on have identified a lot of genes, dozens and dozens of genes. You know, with breast cancer, there's like basically 2 genes that you can look for. There might be more right now, but I mean, she's amazing. But just people need to be able to get in that study. What's the game?
Oh, okay. All right.
Turn around.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. There's a game, but
Yes.
before we go to that, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Like I was saying, it's so important, and thank you. I mean,
absolutely. I worry, and I think part of the thing I was saying about delegating, being able to delegate, is because whenever I get feedback, and I do, I mean, all the time, of somebody who's a family member or a whole family, because now they know their risk is out of danger, or a life was saved or something owing to the foundation and the work we do. It's a great feeling, but it's also that flip side of like, where are those people? If I would have said that louder, or if I would have said that every day instead of just one day, I might have been able to help somebody else help their family, like catch it, you know? So it helps to be able to have a lot of people with their eye on the ball. And I mean, I'll send you a bunch of stuff about it, you guys. It's really important. Okay?
yes.
So it's now the game.
All right. So this is a game of Would You Rather. There's no wrong answers here. And if you want to tell us why you picked something, that's great. If not, we'll go to the next one. But here we
kill.
Well, no. I love when people ask us that. We're like, it could be. Okay, so here we go. So this is Would You Rather. So would you rather?
Oh, is it a thing? Do I put on my glasses?
We'll also read it to you. So whatever you prefer. Okay, would you rather only work in children's television or only work in television dramas if you had to take your pick?
Is children's does that just mean animated?
No, I mean
no. Even like you know, what are kids shows?
Children's television.
Sesame Street type thing.
Children's television.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
I am children's television. They know how. Absolutely. I'm looking at all those characters, and I'm so in love with all. Look at there's Mandy. Is that Mandy?
Yeah.
No.
Mandy
Courage.
It's
I know all those people.
Blossom. All right. Danica, you want to read the next one?
All right, let's do it. Would you rather be a real life mermaid or be a real life vampire?
Mermaid.
Right?
Fair. Yeah.
Wait, let me think about it. Am I a mermaid who can like get legs and walk around and then go back in the water?
Yeah. This is up for interpretation. You could do that.
But and I know that vampires, blah blah blah, live forever. But just the stress of having to go out and drink every day, blood, it would be like being an addict, and it would be very hard. It would be a very hard thing. Yeah, I don't like it. I would like to be a mermaid.
I think you are a mermaid. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather
Yes.
always have to wear a corset or always have to wear tights?
Like even when you sleep?
Always.
Okay, I guess Danica said always means always.
Well, I would rather wear a corset because you couldn't go to the bathroom or make love if you had tights on, unless they were the kind that had the little like spank. Are these real questions?
Are these what?
These are really scary questions.
They are.
Okay, I would not like to wear a corset because it hurts. Of course it does. Wait, stop. Look what I just found. Do you see what this is?
Oh, wow. Is that a picture from set?
Huh?
Is that from the set?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Look at
Do you see who that is? It's Carrie and me.
Like Carrie.
You see that is?
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh.
Played the king. I got the picture. Okay, so tights. All kidding aside, I'd like to wear tights all the time because corsets are super awful and just for ladies. You shouldn't do it to make men think your waist is little and all that crap. They're a bit of a torture device. But if you're into that kind of thing, I'm not.
Me either.
Tights.
Tights. All right, Danica.
All right, next one. Would you rather have the voice of Siri be Gilbert Gottfried or have Google Maps voiced by Mel Brooks?
Mel Brooks. I love Gilbert, but I don't want to run off the road. Oh, Mel Brooks. Can you imagine?
Right? That would be awesome.
2,000-year-old man. Mel Brooks. Oh my God. Sorry, Gilbert. Sorry, I love Gilbert.
I love you.
Mel Brooks.
I'd agree with you. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather walk a marathon after eating a pint of Greeters, I believe it's called, or walk a marathon after eating a bowl of Skyline chili?
I have a dear friend, possible relative, who ran in the Flying Pig Marathon, which is Cincinnati, and did, no pronouns, crap themselves. And I don't think that they had chili, but it was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Just walking really slow with their silver thing. I'm like, here, hop in the car, and they're like, I crap my pants.
Oh my God.
And God bless you, Michelle.
Happens to the best of us.
A pint of grape. Yeah, I would. There's so much Graders going on in my life when I'm in Cincinnati. 100% mint chip.
Mint chip. Oh, that's the flavor. I've never had it. Never been to Cincy.
But wait, do they not sell? Do you guys have Kroger's down there?
I do in Houston.
I don't know if we do in Florida.
Because for a while they were. It was in Kroger's and it was in Ralph's here. It's really good. I have a picture. I just had it the other day, right here, of Carol Leifer and Jerry Seinfeld in Graders. Where the hell? Because hold on.
One moment, please.
Worth it.
I don't know. No, darn it. No, I don't have it because
We'll imagine it.
Yeah, because Jerry Seinfeld was. Oh, here's John in Greatest American Hero. Was that the name of it? Wasn't called Greatest American Hero. That was a TV show. Captain Avenger. Greatest American. What was it called? Captain Avenger.
Oh, now you get me confused.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great picture, regardless.
Look at that. There you go. Woo, zoom in. Wow.
Okay. Graders. Anything having to do with graders. That's where all of our family meetups are.
At Graders.
Graders on Mason Montgomery Road, and that's the one.
Well,
That's where all of our family reunions. And what's funny is there may or may not be factions, not on purpose, of the family where these are working during the day. They can come here and I may or may not go there a couple times during one day and have ice cream twice.
no judgments here.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That sounds delicious. All right. Next.
All right, next. Would you rather always dress like you're going to the Oscars or always dress in pajamas?
The pajamas. I mean, don't even. Here, I'll show you something. So I've got this dress on that I wore to my daughter's wedding. But I also am wearing,
Oh, it's so pretty.
also wearing
Yes.
pajama bottoms
Yep.
that were a gift from Jason and Melanie. So even when I'm dressed up, I have my pajamas on underneath.
No,
Fabulous.
I wear sweatpants literally every time we do the show.
Same. I'm wearing sweatpants right now too, but no one wants to see my sweatpants. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather have all of your meals prepared in an easy bake oven or only eat space/astronaut food?
Easy bake oven. Completely. Easy bake oven because even when it doesn't turn out, you just like eat the batter. Like,
I mean,
you could like snort the cake batter, and I'm sure. Yeah, the space food scares me, and I get it, and I probably have some in an emergency earthquake kit or something here in LA. But no, easy bake oven.
I love it, man. I love my easy bake oven. I feel like my parents probably still have it. I'm gonna have to go revisit and see what I can make, but
it's not that easy. That easy bake oven is from 1969.
Fair.
It's probably not that one.
It is not that one,
But
but
it's probably one of the pink ones.
yeah, it's one of the pink ones. But all right,
Pink one. Yeah.
let's do one more. All right, Danica.
All right. Would you rather go back and have lunch with Madeline Kahn or go back and have lunch with Sarah Mustel?
Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
100%. Sarah Mustel, love him, fantastic, all that. This would be 100% Madeline Kahn. I was so sad I never got to meet her. I was like, obviously, my obsession with Mel Brooks came through the idea of, I can't believe she gets to be with him every day. Yeah.
Flames from the top of my head. Yeah, I love her so much.
Exactly.
Well, my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Amy, this has been, thank you so much. This has been so amazing.
Can I ask you something? Can I let people know that I'm going to be doing a GalaxyCon?
Yes, we have a graphic too. Let's bring up the graphic.
Explain what that is. Explain to me what that is. What's really exciting is when I met you in Louisville a long time ago, seems like a long time ago, Carrie and I were there at the same time, and we hung out with much hilarity. And what if there was a Robin Hood and a thing, and then it just like came to be, and I'm so excited to do it with them.
Virtually.
Do the thing. I guess I should get a bunch more like Robin Hood stuff so I can hold it up to the camera like a dork, right?
I mean, it is cool, like seeing your photos.
Because I have, man, oh man, I took my camera every day, and it wasn't a phone.
So cool.
It was a camera.
So good.
But if you guys want more information, all you have to do is go to galaxycon.com and you can sign up. And Amy, are you also doing like virtual chats, or is it just okay?
Yeah. Wait, what's a virtual chat? Yes.
Yeah. So
private-ish with people and
yes.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool. It's really fun.
Exactly. Well, I did do it one other time, but so will this be us separately or Carrie and I together talking to someone?
I'm not sure because some of them I've seen together and some are separate. So I guess go to galaxycon.com and all the information is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's this Saturday. Wow. I can't believe it's already May.
Wait a minute. May 1st is Saturday?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
It is? Look at the calendar. Oh, no. Sunday.
Is it Sunday? If it is, then their graphics wrong.
Wait. Oh, somebody figure out what it is.
It's Saturday. Wait, May 1st is Saturday.
It
Yes.
is?
Yes. Saturday. Yes.
Oh my God. Why do I not have it?
Do you have the wrong year?
1, 2, 3. Okay. I believe
Well, good. Now,
I have a calendar back here that's completely red.
well, now we have
Mine's
the right
still
day.
on February, so you're fine.
True.
No, really.
But before we, Sean says it is Saturday. Thank you, Sean. Before we do wrap this up, is there any?
I know. That's right. Saturday.
But before we wrap this up, is there any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Let's do this again sometime.
Can we?
Yes, please.
Yeah, for fun.
We have so many more questions.
No. And let's dig down on some stuff too. Let me think. Okay, like we can talk and yeah, that'll be fun. I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's such an honor. But
that's just stop it with that bullshit.
No, this is. I think
shorter. I got this chair. Wayfair, you got just what I need. I told you. But it's supposed to be one of those that you can make it taller or shorter, but it only goes short.
It's like you're going down the elevator. Jude's reminding me this is episode 50. That's exciting.
Whoa,
we
I
made
did
it.
Not realize that.
But what I was gonna say is, what makes me a fan of somebody isn't just their work; it's like who they are as a human. And you are an amazing human. So we appreciate you.
I'm going to take that compliment and then worry about it later. But
no need to worry.
Thank you. I am very, very human. Let's put it that way.
True.
Very, very, very human.
We love to hear it.
But if it's okay with you, Amy, we're going to go over our upcoming guests that we have in May, which is next week. So we have
not just me.
I wish it was you every time, but
in New York. Do you tell him I said hi?
Who? Tommy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember me, but I was like, okay, go ahead.
No, it's cool. Next Tuesday, we have WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather. Tuesday after, Steve Gonzalez, paranormal investigator. Then we have Tommy Chung. We have Matt Novetzky and Jacob Young, Matt Riley, Lonnie Eagleton. We have Robert Duncan again from Cream Magazine. And hopefully we will have back Amy whenever she's available. So let's make it happen.
No, seriously, like you guys, this was real. Like you guys, this was really, really fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You stop.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll see you soon and have a wonderful time on Saturday. And everyone, once again, johnritterfoundation.org and also galaxycon.com to find out more about the event. And we will see you guys real soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I log out. Nima is having trouble with the boomer world.